And we're live.
Do it.
Welcome,
What?
everybody.
Hello.
Now I introduce.
Yeah, please go ahead.
No, that was it. Actually, that was the introduction here.
Oh, he's not needed anymore.
No, he's leaving us alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How are you guys doing? How was the week
Doing great. Busy, super busy.
Yeah.
for
been
your
alright.
project or?
So the thing is
general?
that we had the Memorial Day weekend here in the U.S. and
I see.
so, we drove to the mountains and did some hiking. So spent time with the family. That's right.
Oh man, Sven, stop fooling around, man. Come back. So yeah, the Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Did all of you guys celebrate that? Because obviously I didn't.
No.
But no.
I mean,
You
we
don't really.
celebrated it and that we didn't get mail and our trash didn't get taken, but we didn't do anything.
It's already a success. Whenever I don't get mail, I'm happy actually, because there's nothing good in the mail. Never.
Nothing
only-
good ever came through snail mail.
Oh,
That's not
only-
true. Sometimes
only good.
checks come through that.
Yeah, but yeah, usually it's bills, and that's not good.
That's true.
I see.
Yeah, no, we don't. It's like barely even, registered that it is a holiday for me. Usually with any holiday, I was actually, I was messaging my coworker from my contract work, and he was just like, I'm sorry, gotta go. Going to friends. I'm like, oh, right. Yeah, I guess people do things like that, barbecuing and whatnot on that day.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important holiday, of course, but most people just go and party at the beach or something and get drunk.
I see.
But I'm assuming Arky was deploying a lot of dry rubs that day.
So we drove to Virginia to the Shenandoah National Park. Great
Ooh,
place.
nice.
But so we were there for 3 nights and it was raining all the time. So no dry rubbing for me.
Where
Wet
are you
rubbing.
from originally, Arky?
Mexico.
I forgot, I think. Mexico? No, no. I mean, where do you live? Where do you live in the U.S. right now? That's what I meant.
Princeton, New Jersey.
Ah, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to know what driving to Virginia means.
Oh,
I don't
it's
know.
about 5 hours. It's a 5-hour
Okay.
drive. Not too bad. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I thought, what, Mexico? Man, that's a long drive.
That's far.
That's far. Yeah. No. I wouldn't do that with kids.
Yeah. I see. Cool.
That's cool. That's a great area, though. We were there last year briefly.
Yeah,
we
it is
really
a
liked
great.
it.
It's just that the rain just messed all the plans, but it's okay. We did our best to spend a good time there.
You guys go. Well, were you planning on camping, or are you just usually staying
No,
in hotels?
we got an Airbnb, and then so we did hiking. I think with some light rain. It was bearable. It was cold also here in the East Coast. I think 40, 45 or so. So it was pretty
Yeah, it
cold.
is cold.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun. But when I came back on Monday evening, I started working on my progress. So it's when I did the real push for this.
That's
Awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right into it. Why don't you?
Yeah.
Sure. So okay. So hold on. So I have maybe not a live demo today, but Twitter. So I posted a picture on Twitter. I'll share my screen, and this will show what I've accomplished. So let me go to, where is it? Can you guys see my screen?
Nope.
No. It's it.
No.
No, I can.
So now you can.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good. So I started now. I found this. I don't know how to describe it. It's a collection of styles, right, for buttons and text areas and whatnot. And so I don't know if that would work.
What are you using for that?
So it's called Material.io.
Oh yeah, okay.
add recipes over this one, right? So here maybe it's the live version. So now it's sort of it comes with all this built-in functionality that you hover and it when you click it tells you a little guide, and then you can say, right, my new rub, and here's my description. And then this is, you've seen, right? Also the donut wasn't great, so then I changed this to the analogy of the jar. Then and then here is the parts. It's like full or half a part. But still, the more I think about it, the danger is that when you start being picky with everything, you realize that it's a lot of work. So so I'm taking this philosophy right now that get out the MVP, right? Even if it has flaws, and maybe I'll work on this obviously with the alignment and whatnot, but this works, right? It goes to the database, and then the new rub is here. This page I haven't touched, right? It's just 2 columns, but it will have way more. Now, going back to this interface, another thing that I wanted to add, and I think it's critical, at least for the MVP, is to say what this rub is good for. So is it like veggies or chicken or whatever that is? So that when we come back to this, the list, you can start filtering by type of food. I think that would be the most useful thing, right? I think based on what you're cooking that day, you could even sort by stars. The voting and all that will be implemented later. It will be part of the MVP, but at least I want also to have that added degree of search where you can specify what you're cooking today. That's the primary question, is like what you're doing today, and you can filter by what the rubs are good for. So I'm happy with this Material.io. Maybe just to show you, Material.io. So these guys have done a really, I think it's part of Google, but here the design is it from Google?
Yeah, material design in general, like the guidelines and everything.
Right. Yeah. And then they also start giving these controls, right? I mean, you just point to the JavaScript, and as you can see, they have buttons. And here you can check all the types of buttons, how you can configure your controls and whatnot. They have navigation bars. So I've been using this a lot, and that's why the look and feel of my page now, it's all purple. So I was wondering for the Plot Maniac, were you using this? Because I think you also have a heavy purple. Are you using the same material?
Yeah, no, purple just comes from the theme.
Okay.
In general, which I'm using. I'm using a theme. It's called Apex, whatever. They're not using material design, but yeah, at least not fully, I would say. They have some other elements in it as well. Okay. But yeah, I'm the purple just came from the theme, but I kind of liked it, so I thought, yeah, I'll incorporate it into my logo, and now it's the kind of main color. Because I also, yeah, I'm sorry. What?
No, I was going to say that because I asked the question because so the purple was the first thing I thought you may be using, but also when I looked at this, I was going through all the functionality.
Purple incorporates like creativity a little bit.
I see.
So when you go into this color psychology, that's why I liked it too.
Right. Yeah, but so I think the message is that now I'm getting to a point where this, I think it's more usable, something closer to what I would like to release. There are still things that I need to finalize to be happy with it, but also I will not overthink it, right? And I think really going back to what the goal of this is, for me, it's not, at least for the dry rub, to make a startup or anything like it, but just rather launch the project and launch something that could be potentially useful for the community, and that I'll be happy with that, and getting some users and feedback, and then I'll see. But I think I'm focused on this page and adding stuff and release this MVP to the point that if random people come into the page, or they can add their recipes, and also it goes back to your to this thing of the list, right? Something that it's usable. So I'll be working primarily on these 2 screens, and I think because of the way this Firebase is set up, not everybody will be able to upload unless you sign up. and the sign up is very straightforward as well with your email or your Google account. So I think that the only to have control over who writes to the database, and that would be it. And then I checked on this, what you guys recommended on the Firebase hosting. I'll go back to see you. So the Firebase hosting, yeah, exactly. I don't know why maybe I know why, my lack of understanding of web development, where I thought that I needed Node.js to host this as a server. But yeah, the Firebase will do the trick. And then everything I had in Node.js, I made static HTML files in JavaScript, and it works, right? For what I'm doing, that works. I think also I know the reason why I thought Node.js was the answer is because the Firebase API keys, right? So I thought that key was meant to be for the developers only, and no one should see it. But I Googled, and it seems that it doesn't matter that the world sees that key, because the access control is based on what you configure on Firebase and not on this key.
There are some keys for service accounts, for example, that you should not share. But in general, this API keys, this is fine.
Right.
And but be careful with your login and things. You still need to configure your database to make it
right.
secure,
Exactly.
Kind of.
Right.
You have,
right.
Like rules that you can put in there. So and yeah. So I don't know if you want anyone who's logged in just to use the database, then you need to configure that at least.
Right. Right now I have it obviously under development, and anybody, right? But at this point I don't care, and I'm not sharing those keys with others. But when I release, yes, this will be tied into anybody being logged in.
Yeah,
to commit. Yeah, right. So the progress, but as I said, this is a tricky thing that once you start really getting into the real functionality and so on, you realize that even these simple projects, right? Like this is probably the simplest thing you can think of. It's still a lot of stuff that you need to take care of. So, but anyway, it's interesting. I'm learning a lot, so that's good.
Okay, I have a suggestion. On the controls on adding it. So actually, first you already said you're like kind of the bar is representing the jar. That seems like something Timo would go crazy on, making that actually look like a jar and spending a lot of time on. And that might be a good idea for whenever, right? Like I think that'd be really cool. You could probably keep it simple and literally just have like a PNG overlay over the bar, which looks like a jar.
Right.
And then to adding the parts, what popped in my head while you were doing it is kind of like, you know how if you order on Instacart or one of those online ordering services, you press add to cart, and then you have a little pop-up with a plus and a minus, right?
Okay.
So something like that, the control is where you have in the middle, that's what I'm picturing from your layout right now. Like in the middle, you have your input field, which is pepper or salt or whatever. And then you have an add part, and you could also have a subtract part button. And that would be like, there's a usability question now where what is the smallest amount you think? I mean, in parts, technically speaking, there is technically no need for a half part.
Yeah.
Because if it's, then that just means everything else is 2 parts, right? But I guess the question is how people think about it and how it is commonly listed. But like that. Do you have any insights for us on that?
So I think at least from what I've seen, I guess your primary ingredients are the full parts, and it's rare to see like 2 parts of salt. So in a way, everything is scaled to, I think it's everything around salt, I would say. 1 part of salt, 1 of pepper. Then 1 part of salt, for example, and half a part of cayenne pepper, right? Or so
but that's then 2 parts of salt and 1 part of.
Of course, you can
pepper.
always scale it. You can always scale it. But I think that here the key question is what is the most straightforward to convey those ratios?
Right. And I guess the question is what is commonly done, right? If 1 part is the biggest measure which you currently see, and whatever the main ingredient is 1 part, and everything else is fractions of that.
Yeah.
If that's what's commonly done, then great. Like, again, as Timo seems to kind of echo my mind there, as an engineer, that makes no sense, because you just start with 1 and then you go up from there. But that doesn't matter, right? Because that's based on whatever your users are used to, and you accommodate it. But then I'm assuming it's not going to go lower than a quarter either, probably, right?
Right.
An eighth, 16.
Right. No, I mean, the scaling, I agree, right? It can always be scaled. And also, that's a cool thing about the ratio, that it doesn't matter. But also, that's why I thought the slider was a good analogy to that. Is it full or not? Right. And then I broke it down into quarters. And also, 0 parts makes no sense. But also, making the start 25%, also, it's weird. So I thought that the full bar is 1 part, and then you scale from there. And also, I mean, maybe also that thing that I have with I don't care about the animation, but that library that I found to make a stacked bar to show the ratios, I thought it's interesting, but not critical. You could express the same thing on a table, just with text. Right. So it's again, I'll pick probably the most straightforward thing to release, and then I'll go with that.
Yeah, no, I think the bar chart is a nice touch. Certainly, visual always helps, right? But just ask yourself, what's the simplest method of entering it, right? Because I do think that is probably right now your crucial user experience part, right? Like, that's the crucial interface. Is how do you add it?
Right.
And whatever it is, if it's a quarter, half, and 1 part, then the bar slider makes sense, but it could also just be 3 buttons, right? Like, there's an input field, pepper, and then it's add, quarter, half, 1, maybe a third, right? And whatever they press is automatically added. But I don't know. You could experiment.
No, right, exactly. And also, what comes to mind is there is an option, kind of like a pop-up on a button, for example. When you click add, maybe it wouldn't be added automatically, but rather do a pop-up with all the options, right? With that plus, minus, and the part. So that would be something that maybe as you see the interface, you don't need to anticipate that, but rather when you enter the ingredient, you get the quantity is like how much you want to add of this. So I think that, it's interesting, Sven. I like that. I'll try that, maybe see how I can implement that.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say the same, actually. I like this approach, like where you have a plus minus, but you have a small box in the middle where you can put the number manually if you want, for example.
Right.
And then this gets added. But then, in my opinion, it just makes sense, like, for whole parts, because from the perspective of making these dry rubs, it's really hard to adjust these half parts. Let's say you want to make a dry rub. You don't know how much material you will end up with, but you start, let's say, with 1 part of salt, and 1 part is, let's say, 1 spoon. Then you put 1 spoon in it. Okay, I can measure that kind of. But then half a spoon is difficult already. Quarter spoon is more difficult. So I would just go for 2 spoons then, rather than with otherwise you'll run out of spoons at some point, for example.
No, but it's interesting, because also when you think about, like, very specific, let's say, baking, right, that it's a precise way of cooking. There you really have very specific measurements, like half a teaspoon of this.
Yes, and that's still okay, but at some point, depending on what else you want to put in there, it gets difficult. And that's what I hate really the most about recipes, when they are not specific. They don't say, 1 spoon of that or half a spoon. I can live with that, but I cannot live with a little bit of salt, or like a tip of whatever, or this. No, this is not a measurement. I'm sorry, and
I'm the opposite.
It really annoys me.
No, but okay, but this is the thing, right? I think in a jar, that's your unit, that's your whole, for example, right? And then out of that, you really play with ratios.
Yes, of course you do.
So if in your mind is 1 part of salt, 1 part of pepper, and maybe a quarter of chili powder, yes, you can always scale it up so that the quarter is your part. I mean, but I think that's in a way counterintuitive to do. In practice, I don't do it.
Yeah, okay, I agree with you. You can scale it up as a user, but the thing is, you shouldn't have to, in my opinion, at least. I mean, I can do the math. It's not a problem, but I want to cook something. I want to bake something. I don't want to do science here. Come on. It's just give me the recipe already.
There's one difference, Timo, which in Germany or in probably most in Europe, like it just goes by gram, right? Unless with the pinch and all of that. That's different. Let's forget about that for a second. Here, people are used to that. You have literally measuring devices in the kitchen, which is a cup. And it's another tiny little cylinder, which is a half a cup and a quarter of a cup, right? And you have the same thing for a tablespoon and a teaspoon and a half a teaspoon, which is, I also think it's extremely dumb, but that's just how it is. Like to the point that whenever I cooked in the States when I first got here, it said a cup. It's like, well, I took 1 cup, right? I have 1 cup and I took that cup. And of course, my mind did the same thing we're talking about now. It said 1 cup. All right, I did 1 cup. It said half a cup. I did half of this cup because that's the cup I have. But it was silly because it's a relative recipe to whatever cup you have.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I wouldn't be comfortable with the expression like 1 cup already. If I have like a huge cup, I don't know, like one of these Starbucks thingies, then maybe it would mess up my whole cake, let's say, whatever I'm baking.
Yeah, it's a defined unit here.
Actually. Yeah, okay, I see.
So yeah, it's really about nailing the ratio thing, right? I think, and again, I'm not a UX guy or UI, so it's hard for me also to come up with this. I mean, it's really not straightforward. But anyway, I'll keep experimenting there and see what comes out.
Yeah, but it's cool progress. Looks way better already. That's nice.
Right. It's interesting what the good controls, how it changes the thing, the experience.
Yeah,
it's really remarkable. Sure. Yeah. Good. All right. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
All right. Shall I go next? And Emmy can finish with her highlights, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, because my update is also really quick, I would say. First of all, Steffen is back now. Yay. I asked him actually if he wants to join, and he said yeah. But today apparently didn't work. So hopefully next week he can make it. Then he will join the call, at least say hi to everybody so you guys know who I'm talking about. And we had a meeting, and actually we wanted to meet every day, like some sort of daily. But yeah, that kind of didn't work out so well, I must say. This week we were both busy, and I mean, he is usually free in the morning, but that's when I sleep. So it's really hard sometimes for me. So, but I take the blame. It's probably my fault. So we should make that better habit. Starting next week, I would say. And so I wanted to break up the guides, and I started with that. But it's more than I expected, so I'm not fully done yet with this. But I will hopefully be able to finish it this week, and then if I can, put it on the site. But I'm not sure because I have now we have vacation here basically in Germany. There's a holiday tomorrow, and I will not be here. So I have plans for the weekend. I really hope I can still do it. And but the good thing is Steffen wants to support me on a very critical area in the application. I don't know if you remember the scene section we had, and I was talking about that I think last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't really remember, but there were like some really buggy behavior, and he's helping me out on that, which is cool. So, but we don't really have any showable progress. And the beta is Can people see that actually when you do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, starting 1st of May, yeah, it's true, and a small selected group of people can already access it. It's not a problem, but it's still very buggy, I would say. So yeah, we are working
I'm mainly
on
just
getting
giving
that done.
it because it still says May 1st on the website.
I know.
I'll mention it every week from now on until it doesn't.
I will update that because that is really something I really should get done during the week. So
you could probably do it right now while we're talking, even.
Yeah, not necessarily. It's not
that.
Oh,
it's on Google, right? So you can't. Actually, that's an interesting question. Can you log in and edit files while they're live? No. You have to push a new version, right?
Yeah, you have to build it. You have to push it and stuff like that. So.
Oh, is the landing page still part of the Angular project?
Yeah, which is also something that's not good actually, because just maybe it's important for you too, Arki. If you use Angular, for example, it's not good for your SEO, like this search. This search engine optimization, whatever. That's probably even what it means. Yeah. And, so yeah, and yeah, because JavaScript gets rendered on the whatever. It's too detailed, but I should update that too. But yeah, right now it's in the Angular project.
So also, talking about the SEO, are you guys familiar with schema.org?
No, not
it's
really.
Kind of like a metadata that you put into your web page to optimize your search results on when this is indexed by Google and perhaps other query engines. My guess is that not many pages actually use it, but you can even influence Google to create the cards and other types of special treatment that they give to, I guess, pages that do have that schema.org defined. At some point I'll give it a try, see if it actually works. Or
yeah, I mean, SEO is a very difficult process anyways. So yeah, I didn't spend any time on that yet. It will be in the task for the future, Timo.
so about the Angular, I wasn't able to really understand what Angular really is. I thought it was these controls and buttons and stuff, but it's not, right?
It's a, let's say, an entire framework for building single page applications, basically.
Okay.
So it's amazing.
Okay.
In my opinion. But once you start with Angular, you're pretty much kind of stuck with it. Okay. You can incorporate some other libraries, but usually that's not so nice. And depending on what you want to do. But for me, the larger your project grows, the better it is, in my opinion, to use Angular. But
so Angular is MVC, right? Mostly.
No, it's a model view model. Actually, it's it's the. I mean, MVC. I don't know if you guys are all familiar with it. It's like this model view controller structure, kind of how you want to abstract your data layer, your view, and your logic, kind of. And then there are like several how can I say, other patterns with it, and Angular should be MVVM, so model view model. This is in my opinion a little bit better, and apparently also in Google's opinion. Otherwise they wouldn't have done it like this, because this really separates the templates from the logic and everything, the view and the logic.
So I think, Arki, I don't know where you are on that spectrum, but for Emmy, basically you have your HTML files, right? Like let's just break it down in like the basic terms, which is what you see, and then you have your JavaScript or your TypeScript or whatever files, which is your logic, which is what happens when...
Your microphone is super weird. Is that just me or...
not
Do
sure.
you guys also hear that weirdness?
Just
No.
a little bit. It's not too bad.
Oh, I know what it is. Is that better?
A little bit, yeah. I
Can't really
guess.
tell.
I think you have to keep talking.
So I was talking about the HTML files, which are your templates, right? Timo mentioned, commonly referred to as templates, which is what you see. That's your CSS, your HTML, and then you have the logic. Like, for example, what happens when you press a button? What happens with the data you put into a form, which you see? Something needs to manipulate that data or do something with that data. At the very least, send it to your server, or send it to Firebase or something like that, right? That's the logic, and that's a controller somewhere, right? I think it is called a controller in Angular speak, isn't it? Anymore? It used to be.
You mean
Component, yes. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, so, and then you have a whole lot more framework around that, right? Angular or Vue or whatever framework you're using is giving you kind of a set of rules on how you should build your application. And that's why it's not entirely the best thing just for landing page, right? Because it's actually, it's to build apps, something which actually does things, right? Like if, as you make your recipe building app maybe much more complicated and animated, and I don't know, like then that might be the Angular part, but your web presence is usually done differently, again, mostly for SEO purposes.
Yeah, also like if you have let's say a huge list of, I don't know, 10,000 data sets you want to show, usually you don't put that in one by one. You have like in your templates, you have a for loop that like, just goes over all the items you have defined in your component, and then it shows the list. So, but if you don't have JavaScript, basically, then the list is not shown. Nothing is shown of this information. Also, like if you have, if you get text for your landing page from the database and you show it on your page just for the landing page purposes, whatever, then without JavaScript, it's also not shown. And these bots from Google, usually they don't execute the JavaScript. That's why it's not good for SEO, because they just see a page. Maybe they even just see the app tag from Angular, and that's it. So they don't even know what your page is about.
I see.
That's
right.
why you should rather put it in a, let's say, plain HTML or something like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, like, not even a 101 on web development here, but a couple of insights, I guess.
Yeah, beginner tutorials. We can do it also at some point. I'm happy to talk about this stuff. Why not?
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Actually, we could do like a virtual coffee meeting or something. I know that collides with your times, but like how I built my first app or something. How do you feel about doing that live, Timo?
What do you mean? Like building the app live?
Yeah, like I don't, like not an app, like just something small.
I mean, yeah.
You know?
I mean, generally, I have not a problem with that, but it all depends on the audience. If the people don't know anything I'm talking about, then there's no point in doing it, kind of.
Right.
And it's really difficult for, let's say, if we talk about Angular, for example, if someone has no experience with Angular whatsoever, then just getting started building an app, they will probably be lost after 5 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, maybe more like a intro to Angular, like literally just what it is about, why should you choose it, or why do you think people should choose it, or why should they not choose it, right? Maybe something like that would be more appropriate.
Yeah. Needs to be prepared though.
Yeah. No, not tomorrow. Just something to think about. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah. If people like it, why not? Let's do it.
Cool. So, do you guys have a new launch date in mind, Timo, or no?
Yeah, well, I talked with Steffen, and we actually said now, I don't even want to say it here, but we said end of June it should work. So no,
well, that's a whole nother month. So
I'm not sure if it was end of June or end of July. I'm not sure. I have to talk to him again because June and July, they're almost the same, man. Whoever named these months, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. So, yeah, apparently 1 more month and then we should really be launch ready, I guess. But take it with a part of salt, not with the grain.
Well, grain is also very defined, right? Like if you actually just take one grain.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so yeah, hope we get it done, but not making any promises anymore.
All right.
Yeah, so that's from my side. Any other questions? I know it's super uneventful, but if you want to know anything, let's go.
I can't think of anything.
All right. And I'm excited to hear your update, Emmy. Because last week you had so awesome news. How did it go?
Oh, thanks. So I felt like shit this week, but I managed to get a lot of stuff done, I think. I can show you guys a bunch of random crap. Let's see what I want to show you first. Where's my update, first of all? So I have like the presentation part of my demo kind of the way that I want it. My demo's next Monday on my birthday, so you should all remember. So I'll go through that a little bit with you guys at the end. I made a lot of stuff, a lot of graphics and stuff. And I also, oh, this is what I can show you too. I played around with Shopify. I don't know if you remember back like in the cohort days, I was considering like opening a Shopify shop and trying to figure out what like the best platform is going to be for selling and that kind of thing. And it's kind of unique because it also needs to have like, there's like so many different user personas that could be going to my website, right? So it's kind of like, I want it to be clear when like the seniors go to the website where they're supposed to go, and it's not just doesn't just seem like a shopping page. Anyway, we'll get to that. I'll share my screen.
Before you go any further, like you should really consider signing up for Springboard, that program I'm finishing this week with those design interns.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Like I think that would help you a lot. Like it's a 4 to 5 week process or so, and of course it's still a lot on you, right, to define all of these things, but they will help you think through it and then do a lot of the design work and sketching, and they will even do user interviews and stuff like that for you if you want to. Anything which is in the design process, you can work with them on.
Yeah, maybe I will, because it's really not a simple like business structure in terms of like all the user interfaces and whatnot. So I'm kind of learning that in the last couple of weeks, that I have a lot to keep in mind as I do this stuff. Well, I'll show you this anyway. Yeah.
Can you hear my girlfriend talking? Because she's talking really loud. I'm not sure if I should mute myself. Maybe I'll do that.
So this is how my dumb card website looks right now. This is like the first time I've actually had any information on it. So I was proud of myself for getting this little slideshow up here and making these little graphics. But I don't think the like one page format is at all gonna be good for the future of it.
I think a one page format in general is good. because maybe the information you display there needs to be adjusted a little bit, because people should see like on one glance, okay, what is it all about, because they won't read any further, I think, without if you just have one page.
Yeah, but like I also need, I need the shop, I need where the seniors can go to access like the tutorials and stuff. Like there's just so many different areas, you know. I don't so that's why I'm not sure about the one page.
But I thought isn't, for example, your YouTube channel the place where they get the trainings or whatever? So I guess in a way you can always link it, right? Maybe your shop, you use another platform for that.
Yeah, but I would really rather have everything embedded, because it's going to be very complicated for them anyways to find my videos and stuff, you know.
Okay.
With limited technology knowledge that I'm assuming that they're going to have.
Yeah,
I can't hear you, Sven.
For seniors, it might be difficult anyways with I don't know, Shopify, or who's your target on audience for this Shopify thingy in general?
Well, the Shopify angle, of course, is thinking about the customer, right? So the
one who buys it later.
Yeah, the consumer, the people who want to buy handmade, sustainable, elderly supporting items.
So I think you need to decide what is the main presence for Giglets Garments.
Right.
It feels to me it's whatever sells something. So that whatever that image is, that those visuals and those elements which driving towards what is for sale, while still communicating how things are made and what the mission is, should probably be the main thing on the landing page.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then I do agree, though, that you have to break it out into multiple different things, because whatever the content is you might want to show to seniors, no one else wants to see that, almost certainly, right?
Yeah.
So don't make them accidentally stumble across that, right? It could be like your senior academy, or I don't know, whatever that is, right? Like something like that, which you can reach from your main website.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who said it, but I think also like a single page is very difficult.
But how would you make seniors access that specific content then, once you have it?
Well, there's a button, Learning Academy or whatever. Again, I don't know what the actual content is, but what's the purpose? Okay, let's just not worry about the details on who is accessing what, how. It's like, what's the purpose? What problem are you solving? Because if you can't sell anything, the seniors don't matter.
Right. And that's why
so
I'm thinking
have to go backwards from there.
Like Shopify or something that's set up to be integrated with selling. Again, I don't really know anything about any of them. Shopify just is the most. But
even that is like you're getting ahead of yourself. That's just a technology you can use to sell stuff. If that's Shopify, eBay, who cares at this point? That's just where it is actually sold. That's going to be branded in your colors and all of that, sure. But your website needs to convey that. And then there is a button, shop, right? Or online store or something like that. Because you are not like eBay, of course, you're right in the store, but that's their business. You are not a store business. You are a upcycled product business. So you probably want to convey that first.
Right.
And then you can have, of course, that's where another web development part comes in. We could have a highlights section or like new articles or something, which then directly goes to the product pages and stuff like that. I don't know if that's done with Shopify or not, but I think you need to really think through what do you want to show, where, how.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm. Shopify is it has a whole customizable websites. Like it's not just the selling functionality, right? It's going to be your entire website, and I'll show you again. Oh, there's like so many things to click on when I try to share my screen. So just spending a couple hours on this one day, this is what like I played around with for the Shopify website. Same thing with this big slider at the top, which I don't know.
Can you go into like preview mode or something?
Somehow? I can, but it's screwed up.
Doesn't matter. Just
it's
show us.
See, this is what I'm trying to fix, is that like it fits, the slider fits here, but then when I go into the actual preview of the website, it's not fitting anymore. And I don't know what size I need to make it. See?
Well, yeah, it starts with your header, which is, it seems like it's adjusting to the content, which is your logo. It's way too big in that case.
Yeah.
Unless that is supposed to be like that, but that seems weird. It's huge.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
But again, I think what you're gonna fight with this stuff a lot now without even knowing what you want to show. So again, I think you're putting the cart before the horse, right? Like you do need to think about this from a design perspective first before getting into implementation. And I'm happy that, we are all happy, probably, hopefully, to help with figuring these things out once you're there. But as you don't really even know what you want to put in Shopify while trying to figure out how Shopify works, you're working against yourself on two fronts, I think. So pen to paper first.
Okay, but and do what? I don't
design your website.
Yeah, it really makes sense, kind of, if you just use a blank paper, whatever, and then line out the sections you want to show. Maybe in the top, okay, write logo, whatever. Logo should go there. Then maybe you want to have a picture. What should that picture show? What is the picture for? Then you have some text. What should that text be? Maybe stuff like that. And then like, what sections do you have? What do you need? Maybe you have like a team, and then you have like maybe all the elderly people or the homes listed or partners or whatever. Maybe and then you have I don't know, where do you get your material from? Maybe it could be a section and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But think about that first. It really makes sense what Sven is saying.
And like, to keep it simple, don't even worry about sections or pages. Just take one sheet of paper per context. Let's just call it context, more abstract, right? Whatever piece of information you want to convey or talk about or communicate. And Timo, I think, touched on a couple of good ones, right? Like, certainly you probably want to somehow talk about the materials, right? Like the chain of the materials, the flow. You probably want to talk about your partners, being that elderly, being that the suppliers, or like, I don't know, like how you, all of the information, all of what you know about what your business is going to be needs to be now rearranged into a consumable format. And that is design, right? Mm-hmm. If you remember the conversation we had with Patrick, I think he said something along the lines that trying to communicate a problem or a solution to someone who doesn't previously know about it, right? So you can start that way. And if you just use a template, right, like, and then kind of try to put the information into that template, that can work, but you do need to know what you're trying to communicate. Otherwise, you're going to end up like me, for example, with the current co-starting website. It's the same thing. I just started and I just kind of made shit up as I went. And it's not very cohesive to someone who doesn't really know, who's coming there first. And that's in part the process I'm going through with Springboard now. I put the link to the application into the chat, by the way. They will they will also, you could do that. You could say, okay, we start at mock-up phase, right? Wireframes. Literally just pen to paper, well, mock-ups, pen to paper, then wireframe it out, like what would it look like? And then that's what is going to roll out of our project with Springboard right now, is the high fidelity mock-ups in Figma, right? Where you now use actually visual elements, more or less what it will look like later on the website. And that in itself was, a 5-week process for us. Of course, part-time, right? But
yeah, I guess I'm just, I just want to have something.
yeah, that's not how it works. You can have, again, now going back to our conversation from yesterday in the virtual coffee meeting, ask yourself, what does your minimum viable product website look like? But it's not going to have everything, right? That's what you build in Card. That's your, what's your minimum viable product? What do you, but same thing for that, you're going through the same process, just smaller. What is the information you want to convey? What are the visuals you want to have in there? How do you present it? Is there a call to action you want to take, right? Like, why is that website there in the first place? It would probably be something to do with your pilot, right?
What I could imagine would be really cool and easy to understand is like if you made a graphic that shows like the cycle from, let's say, used T-shirt or whatever to something else, but like, I don't know, make it really neat, put it on a website, and then that's already, I don't know, let's say 50% of the information you need there, or even more.
Show them your flyer real quick. It's not a website, but like we did a similar exercise for that flyer, really. But also we didn't really design it before you just kind of jumped into making it.
Yeah, that's also my problem most of the time. I just start making it, and then in the end, it's like, I could have been better, maybe.
And it usually changes 5 times along the way, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but you see the interesting thing, or at least I'm sensing that there is a pattern that is emerging, right? It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, it's the landing page, or it's the app. It's really, I mean, unfortunately, the exact same process. It's like figuring out what is it that you need to put in, right? The minimal thing, and stay focused. Don't add anything else. Just but also coming up with that minimal set, it's a challenge.
So there's the poster. And I'm doing a similar thing like for the presentation with this do good, have fun, raise funds thing, like trying to make it really simple for them to understand. She still hasn't emailed me back, so I don't even know if this is ever going to be anywhere.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Where do you want to put that?
At the assisted living facility, independent living facility.
Okay.
Where the seniors are. Just to tell them about, I mean, we're talking about like controlling the narrative, right? Of how are these people even going to know if they want to come to my demo, if they're going to be interested in what I have to say. So I don't know. I have no idea what the activities director is going to tell them it's even all about. So it's hard to know what they're going to be prepared for, what they're going to come in expecting, and that kind of thing.
Send a follow-up email on that, since you haven't heard back. Send a follow-up email right after this call.
Okay.
Because it's just a couple of days from now, right?
Yeah.
So but back to that design question, right? So for that flyer, what you asked yourself before you even started, what you knew was, who am I trying to talk to, and what am I trying to tell them?
Mm-hmm.
Ask yourself the same question for the website, right? And it's fine. Like, it's fine to have multiple versions. Like just go wild, throw a whole bunch of shit on the wall, right? The Crazy 8 example, for example, the Crazy 8 exercise, for example, they taught me, right? Our design interns. You just 8 minutes, 1 minute each. You draw four examples of something, right? Like of whatever you're trying to design, like the about page, for example. I mean, I'm terrible at this too, right? Because I'm not that creative, but take the big whiteboard or.
And you come up with 8 different things then, or like what do you do in this 8 minutes?
That's the intention. Yeah, like 1 minute each. You just
cool.
really quick, just sketching, just to kind of brain dump as quickly without even thinking about it. Which
I should try that too at some point. Yeah. That's amazing.
But like don't put too much pressure on you on that either, right? Like I think it's just come up with quick iterations of what you think, and then show the sketches to those guys, or put them in Slack or something, and get feedback on it. Quickly iterate on it, and you can do tests as well, right? Like so, what we are doing actually tomorrow or today, I think they are, is an unmoderated test where they use that design now and they throw it at people where you can actually say, I want this demographic of people, I want them to be employed, blah, 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 blah. And then you give them instructions on what they're going to see. You give them kind of a frame of mind, right? For us, it's, you are looking to build the new business. You're looking for community to help you, right? Now you landed on this website. Oh, no, I think we even said a friend recommended this to you because they thought it would be a good fit. Now you're landing on this website. And then they are kind of going through it and interacting and talking about it, right? So you can kind of test the design before you even start building the website to see if it does what you think it would do. So, but again, that's like even 3 steps down from where you are at right now. So if it was me, I would try to force myself to have like a card minimum viable product by the end of the week, right? Something as simple as this flyer. Just ask yourself what's different, right? This is a different audience or a different maybe message, but just like a couple of elements. That's what Card's good at. Throw that together real quick and have maybe contact us for or something, right? Some call to action, a newsletter, whatever you think is best right now.
Okay.
And then you can take a little bit more time on working on your image, your brand, the bigger thing, right? It's not as bad as it sounds, really. It's just you need to kind of get into the groove. That's what the process is, right? And you just go one step at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I totally understand you, Emmy. Every time I talk to Sven, when I'm developing something, he's telling me the same exact thing, and I'm also like,
I don't want to.
Yeah, I know. It's really tough sometimes.
What do you want to do instead? It's not a trick question.
I don't know.
Well, you should know that. Because like
I want to make things and I guess that's it.
So what's your intention with this business? What do you want to do on this business? Not just in general, in life. Like we all just want to sit on the beach and drink Mai Tais. I know that.
I don't know. It's actually a really good question because I'm not sure. Like what?
All right, then don't worry about it too much. Think about it. Maybe you can tell us next week. Why I was asking is because this is a little bit premature with your business right now, but of course, one suggestion always is, and I think we talked about this last time with Timo, is that you need to find someone who does these other things, right? Mm-hmm. Who is complementary to you on that. Like, so if you are the vision person who wants to save the world, and that's what you want to do and what you're good at, where your passion is, then find someone who is your, I don't know, your operator, right? Like it's the famous example is always like Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg, right? Where he is the vision guy and she is the operator. She just makes sure shit happens. Or if you need someone who is a technical founder, right? So your business is not, I think, doesn't have that bottleneck. But if you had a software as a service business idea, but you can't code, a lot of people struggle with that, right? Like they need to find their technical co-founder. That's what we usually call a co-founder, but it doesn't have to be a co-founder. So think about that too, right? Maybe there is someone you know, maybe there is networking to do to try to find people who you can rally behind you, right? That is your number one job, all of you as founders, is to convince others of the value of your idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's an option. Again, probably a little premature right now.
I have an advisor.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Peter.
Oh, he messaged back?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. You didn't tell me.
Yeah, I forgot. He did yesterday.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. See, that can go on the website. That's the team section right there.
Yeah.
Right. But again, the question is, what do you want the website to say? Is it just a brand kind of thing right now to establish that you're serious? It's the cause, or is it? What is it? Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Just kind of casually skimmed over that she also has an advisor now officially. Are you gonna have weekly calls with him, or?
He said every other week so that I am able to make progress in between.
Okay. When is your first one?
Thursday or Friday. He hasn't written me back again.
Awesome. That's good.
Yep.
So you could consider for yourself, if you want to kind of follow the building in public methodology again, or further, right? And kind of documenting that, maybe figure out what works for you, right? Like if you want to blog about it, or certainly I would say take a ton of notes as you go, right? With these advisory calls, which I think you do anyway, but that's cool. That's awesome. That it's going to make a big difference. Little things like that make it real.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep. I guess we ran out of time. I can't show you my presentation. Darn.
Oh. Well, I still have a couple minutes. I don't want to push anyone else into it, but how long do you need?
I don't even know. It's not even ready, so I shouldn't do it anyway. I thought maybe I could just make myself do it, but I'm really not feeling very good, so I'd rather not.
What about next week then?
Well, that's too late.
No, it's gonna be after I give it for real. So.
Oh, I see. I see.
Well, give us a minute of the cliff notes.
All right. I just get self-conscious because then it's like everything's just bad.
Yeah, but is it going to be better if you just not show anyone, don't get any feedback, and then just do it? Do you think that is possibly better?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, here she is. Hang on just one moment.
Also, by the way, I'm assuming, without having seen it, a lot of this content, which is in part maybe in a different format in your website, is probably in here already too.
Yeah, but that's then when it starts getting confusing. Like I'll make something and I'm like, okay, cool, I really like the way this turned out. But then it's like it's geared toward the senior side, and it's like, how do I make this generic so that whoever is landing on my website understands?
You don't. It doesn't work like that. You have to know who you want to talk to and about what. There is no silver bullet. Doesn't work.
All right. Well, anyway, you see my screen, yes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emmy, and my company, Giglets Garments, is all about reducing textile waste by extending the life cycle of secondhand clothing in a way that can be really fun and therapeutic. But before I tell you a little bit about our mission, I wanted to ask, how many of you here today are crafters? I can't see any of you, but I'm not aware that any of you are. Any knitters or crocheters in the house? No? Well, that's okay. At Giglets Garments, we have a program that gives you everything you need to do good, have fun, and raise funds. And how do we do that, you ask? All of these 3 slides right here, I don't like. I mean, honestly, all of this presentation is nothing set in stone. Okay, anyway. How do we do good for the planet? 14 million tons of textiles are thrown out every year in the US, and fashion is the second largest polluter in the world. We divert a portion of this textile waste that's destined to end up either burned or in the landfill, and we turn it into a versatile yarn. How do we have fun? We then partner with local residents and independent or assisted living facilities like yourselves and work together to knit and crochet unique, versatile items that are in demand among buyers. And your crafting can be done in a social setting, as a group, or alone in your downtime. But either way, with 90% of knitters who say the hobby relieves their anxiety or stress, our method can help the planet and help people at the same time. And the goal of upcycling is to bring more value into these previously discarded materials by putting our handmade touch into the mix. By doing this, customers have the opportunity to buy products that better their life in some way and are better for the environment than mass-produced goods. And we're also able to make a profit, which we then split with our creators or the mission of their choosing. I don't have an image for this slide yet. So if you like doing good, having fun, and raising money, what are the next steps? We're setting up a pilot program, which is basically a mini version of the social impact business that we're building out fully in the coming weeks. And its purpose is to help us answer our big questions and get a feel for any adjustments we need to make in our concept and process. Your feedback will be vital during this time. So if you are interested, you will go about signing up to be part of our pilot. We will supply you with yarn and tutorials, which you'll then pick out of to make fun handmade products. Once you're finished with your products, we post the finished items on our website and write a little bit about the person who made them. And then finally, when your items sell, we will split the revenue between a mission of your choosing and our own mission, which is keeping textiles out of the landfill. I think this is all the slides that I have. But once we're finished with our pilot phase, we will reassess, make any changes, and move forward with a more permanent structure where we give you the opportunity to do good, have fun, and raise funds on a regular basis. And I don't want to take up too much of your time with this presentation. I want to get into showing you the textiles and letting you play with them. So does anyone have any questions at the moment?
Yeah, I have one.
What?
I didn't quite get. Can the people choose what they make, or do you define it for them?
Yeah, they choose out of certain things. So they'll have like difficulty level ratings and supplies that you need, and they'll choose based on that.
For the pilot already?
I think, yeah.
How many?
How many what?
How many of all of the things you just mentioned?
Well, so that's the idea of asking if there's anybody that actually already knits or crochets, because it's like trying to figure out whether I need to have most things geared toward like absolute no knowledge beginners, you know, and like literally teaching them how to make a slip knot and put it on their hook, or like just going in with the
Well, I think you need to assume that you need everything. Your tutorials have different stages where they can jump in, and depending on who they are, they will just skip the first 5 if they don't need that. But that you can't accommodate all of this in the pilot is my point. You just need to make a decision on what you are going to do in the pilot. Like, let's say hats and carpets, not carpets, what do we call them? Rugs, right? Like, let's just say those 2 things. And because the carpets are easy and the hats are somewhat advanced, a little bit more advanced. So those are the 2 things, right? Like, I think you just need to kind of come up with your best guesstimate. Because if you give them too much like leeway, you're gonna get a million ideas, and we should do these horses crocheted.
But you will get them anyways. Like, old people are like this, really.
Everyone is like that.
Yeah. No, but I mean, in my opinion, it's not necessarily bad. You can have, like, let's say 2 samples that you want to make, and but you can also tell them, make whatever you think is nice. I mean, what's the
But then how do I like? So that would be fun, and I like that. I like letting them have their personality into it and stuff, and I think that brings an interesting aspect to the customer. But then how do I make sure they're not just making garbage?
I mean, in the beginning, you don't make sure, of course. I mean, what I'm talking about, it's just about the meeting right now. So you go there, then you have, like, let's say 2 samples, but you can also say, hey, you get familiar with it, do whatever you want, just play around with it, have fun, because that's on your slide, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing, just letting them play around with the materials.
Okay, that's cool,
on the last picture, right, where it shows who does what and so on. I think what wasn't clear to me when I was listening to the pitch was, so what's in it for me? I get let's save the planet, let's have fun, but is there anything else? For example, do I get paid to do this?
Yeah.
If yes, make it explicit or more upfront. If not, just also say it explicitly so that you manage the expectations. It was almost like that was kind of not even mentioned, and that was really an important thing for me too. I mean, from the content.
Well, I'm not sure how to go about, like, that's one of the things that I'm hoping to figure out, right? Is if they want the money, or if they want it to go into their scholarship fund, or if they just don't really care at all. So that's why I'm kind of using the language like we either split the funds with you or the cause of your choosing. So it's like you are getting the funds, whether it's to you or
I think Arki is right on it, but like I think it even goes beyond it. This is probably just because you're not done yet with the presentation, but like I think it needs to be much more clear. What is the pilot?
Okay.
Like very, very clear, right? Like the pilot is, we are looking for 50 people to be our first knitters, to create these 3 different items, which we then sell. Proceeds are going to be either paid to you or donated to. I don't even think you can do one of your choosing either. Like, I don't think you can have all these variables right now. You need to make these decisions, because otherwise you're going to take 18 months to wrap up the pilot, because you need to figure out how to donate $2.50 to this nonprofit, 37 cents to that nonprofit, right? It's a silly example, of course, right now, but like I think make it very clear, like your slide, if you want to stick with that kind of style, that was an overview slide, a generic thing, right? Like this is generally what we're doing, but what are we doing for this pilot, and where do you fit in, right? That's kind of your question. What do you do? Why do we talk to you? What do you get out of it, right? And like make them the focal point. I think is what I was missing in the entire presentation. Is like, you're here for me, right? So make me feel special. Why are you here for me?
Yeah, and
I just skipped bingo for this.
yeah, from a presentation
I
perspective,
don't know how to do that. Like, how? I don't know. I'm having all kinds. We should probably just stop because I'm having all kinds of doubts.
no, it's fine. But what I was thinking, first of all, like when you give your presentation, obviously, I think you won't give it in that speed that you gave it right
No.
now, because you want to be a little bit slower, and maybe you want to a little bit talk more to the people, because they they need to be kind of engaged
Involved,
to me.
yeah.
Involved. Yeah, ask them some
Right.
questions like, hey, I don't know about the having fun, for example. You said it's fun to do this and this and this, but there you assume that everybody is having fun doing that. Maybe it's just it's better to kind of asking the questions you asked in the beginning, maybe in that section. So who's having fun knitting, or what do you like doing in your free time, or something like this. And then maybe it's really hard to do that, but on the fly mix it into your presentation. That's probably the hardest thing. And if you don't feel comfortable with it, then maybe stick to a plan. But I would recommend to engage more with the people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and you'll learn that over time, right? Like that, you just need to do it. And I like that, Timo, actually, because I could already see, like, you're standing up there and you're like probably getting a couple of hands, just assuming here, but maybe more from women. And then if there are, men in the audience, you could just be, if that would be my style, might not be yours, I would just call out someone. It's like, hey, what's your name? Paul. Well, Paul, you don't knit? You strike me like a knitter, right? Like something like that, like lighten the mood, right? Maybe they're doing it for you. Who knows? You need to read the room, of course. But yeah, I agree. I think and that's already bringing it to them, right? Like then they're in the focal point. You're there to talk to them, not just to deliver a great presentation.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't even know if I'm gonna have a monitor or anything, so we'll see if any of this even matters. Yeah.
You need to ask.
And maybe one little trick that might ease up the things in the beginning. If you're nervous, then just tell them, hey, I'm really nervous, something. They're usually old, caring people. That's what I imagine. They say, oh no, she's nervous. No problem, honey. You don't need to be nervous. And like maybe you get things like this, and then you're
or maybe they'll just be mean old people.
Yeah, maybe, but you don't know that. I think like the majority of old people is actually pretty nice. So yeah, just if you're nervous.
Argy doesn't think so. He's shaking his head.
Just say.
Stereotype.
They're gonna tear you apart.
Yeah.
No, it'll be fine. And I mean, you're just overthinking it, right? Like.
Probably. It's always like this.
You just need to go in there and do it. It's the first time, first of all. But just do your best and keep working on the presentation. If you want, I think what you could do, in addition, between now and then, is throw it in a Loom video and throw it in the Slack, right? Get the people's feedback from like that.
Yeah, it's true.
Sweet. All right, you're super over now. But
sorry.
I think that was good.
At least it's not cutting us off after 1 hour. That's
good.
Yeah.
Good or bad, depends on how you look at it.
Good. So hopefully good progress for next week.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you want to do a Loom video, do it. I would be happy to share my sense on it, however you say it.
Mustard? What?
Yeah. It's a saying in German. Like
doesn't translate well.
Yeah, you have to give your mustard to it. Then you're like I don't know,
your opinion.
How do you even say that? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I will once I finish it and feel better about it.
Yeah.
All right, great.
All right,
Excellent.
guys.
Thanks, guys. We'll
Thank
talk
you.
next
See you
week.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
See you. Bye bye.